Lawyers, has the opposing counsel ever won the case for you? I was representing this client named Amy who got fired from her job at a marketing firm. She claimed it was discrimination because she'd complained about her boss making inappropriate comments about her appearance. Pretty standard wrongful termination case, but the company was fighting it hard. Their lawyer, let's call him Brad, was this overconfident guy in expensive suits who thought he was smarter than everyone in the room. The type who interrupts people and talks down to court staff like they're beneath him. Brad's strategy was to paint Amy as a problem employee who got fired for legitimate performance issues. He kept saying she was unreliable, missed deadlines, had attitude problems with coworkers. During discovery, I requested all of Amy's performance reviews, emails, and any documentation about her work. Brad's team handed over a thick stack of papers acting like this was going to bury my client. I spent weeks going through everything. Amy's performance reviews were actually pretty good for the first 2 years. Solid ratings, positive feedback from clients, no major complaints. Then suddenly, after she filed her complaint about the inappropriate comments, her reviews took a nosedive. But here's where Brad made his first mistake. In his arrogance, he didn't bother to read through all the documents his own team provided. If he had, he would have noticed some inconsistencies. There were emails from Amy's supervisor praising her work on a major campaign, dated 3 days after he supposedly wrote a negative performance review about that same project. Either the guy had multiple personality disorder, or someone was backdating documents. I dug deeper into the metadata of the digital files. Sure enough, several of Amy's poor performance reviews had been created months after they were supposedly written. Someone had gone back and manufactured evidence to justify firing her. But Brad wasn't done helping my case yet. During his deposition of Amy, he got really aggressive. Started yelling at her, calling her a liar, trying to intimidate her into admitting she made up the harassment claims. The court reporter was typing furiously, capturing every unprofessional word. I just sat there taking notes, watching Brad destroy his own credibility in real time. Then Brad made his biggest mistake. He decided to call Amy's former supervisor, Mike, as a witness to testify about her poor work performance. Now, I'd already interviewed Mike informally, and he seemed like a decent guy who was uncomfortable with how Amy had been treated. But Brad apparently never bothered to prepare his witness properly. During direct examination, Brad asked Mike to describe Amy's work performance in her final months at the company. Mike shifted uncomfortably in his seat and said, "Well, honestly, Amy's work was fine. She met all her deadlines and clients liked working with her." Brad's face went red. This was not what he expected. He tried to redirect. "But didn't you have concerns about her attitude and reliability?" Mike looked confused. "No, not really. Amy was always professional. The only issue was the situation with her boss making those comments about her appearance. That made everyone uncomfortable." Brad was visibly panicking now. He tried to salvage the situation. "But you ultimately agreed with the decision to terminate her employment, correct?" Mike shook his head. "Actually, I disagreed with that decision. I thought firing her was wrong, especially right after she complained about harassment. It looked like retaliation to me." You could hear a pin drop in the courtroom. Brad had just put his own witness on the stand to testify that the firing was retaliatory. But wait, it gets better. During cross-examination, I asked Mike about those negative performance reviews with his signature on them. Mike looked at the documents for a long time, then said, "I don't remember writing these. The language doesn't sound like how I usually write reviews, and some of these dates don't make sense." I showed him the metadata evidence about when the files were actually created. Mike's eyes went wide. Someone created these after Amy was already fired. I never wrote negative reviews about her work. The judge was taking notes furiously. Brad was slumped in his chair looking like he wanted to disappear. During closing arguments, I barely had to do anything. Brad had handed me a case of wrongful termination, document falsification, and witness tampering all wrapped up with a bow. The company's own witness had testified that the firing was retaliatory, the performance reviews were fabricated, and Amy was actually a good employee. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. They awarded Amy $180,000 in damages plus attorney's fees. After the verdict, Brad came over to shake my hand. He looked absolutely defeated. "I've never seen a case go that badly," he said. "I basically argued your case for you." I felt almost bad for the guy. Almost. 2 weeks later, I heard through the legal grapevine that Brad's firm had fired him for mishandling the case so spectacularly. The company he represented also faced an internal investigation for document falsification. Amy used her settlement money to start her own marketing consultancy. She's doing really well now, and we still exchange Christmas cards every year.